Hi everyone, in this video we will talk about what a schema file is and what they're used for and how you can build one. So a schema is essentially a blueprint, and so when you hear someone use the term database schema, it's basically some SQL that defines the structure of a database. That sounds abstract, but what that essentially means is that if you have this file and you run it, you should create a database with the tables that are necessary for that database. And so schema files are used to make sure that databases across local developers' machines are correctly structured, that schemas can be adjusted and then migrated. So if you need to make a tweak to a database, you can adjust it, and then now this schema file represents the structure of a full database. And so what does that look like? Well, I'm in my VS Code and I'm going to make a schema.sql file. And so there's some important parts. The first part is typical, and this is good practice. You want a file that if you copied and pasted the whole file, no matter what, it won't have an error. And so what's one problem with making a database is that when you try to create a database or create a database, if that database already exists, then it can't get created, right? So what you'll often see in a schema file is this first line here that says drop database if exists. So we add this if exists keyword, these keywords. So this says, hey, drop this database, but only if it exists. So I'm actually not going to write a comment for that. That should be pretty self-explanatory. So if we run this line of code inside of our terminal here, it will work. And if we run it again, it'll still work because it basically said, oh, hey, coding tool doesn't exist. It gives us a warning, but that's fine. It's not an error. So you always it's always kind of good practice to start off with that. So anyone who runs it, if they have anything, it just clears out the old one, makes the new one. And then finally here, you will write the line for making the new database. And so essentially, if you run these two lines again and again, they will always work. So MySQL is gonna run that first one, and then do the next one after I hit enter. So I can drop it, create it, drop it, create it, drop it, create it, ad infinitum. So my comment, I suppose, will be dropping and creating the DB. Cool. And so the next part of the schema files is just making your tables with all their structure. And so for coding schools, we saw that I basically made a table for employees with stuff, and I could have also made a students table with stuff. And so this is essentially how you'd finish off the schema file. So top part is to drop and create the database. The second part of it is to create the tables that the database needs. One more line, since we're in MySQL land, we want to use the database that we make so that we don't have to use dot syntax for all our create tables. Awesome. And that's it. So schema file, we're going to make simple schema files in this class, but they have the potential to be thousands of lines long. You have a very complicated database with lots of tables and lots of relations. But this is to get you used to a very simple one. So your assignment, you'll be making a database, creating a few tables, and inserting data. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.